The Dem Party delegation has arrived in Kamishlo to participate in the historic Kurdish National Unity Conference, focusing on Syria's future and Kurdish rights. Nechivan Barzani and Mazloum Abdi's meeting strengthens ties between the Kurdistan region and the AANES. On the 110th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, commemorations were held in Rojava and Turkey, with the IHD reiterating that genocide denial perpetuates ongoing crimes. Swedish journalist Joakim Medin faces up to 12 years in prison in Turkey for allegedly insulting President Erdogan and suspected membership of the PKK. Learn more with Media News. A delegation from the pro-Kurdish People's Equality and Democracy, or DEM party, has arrived in northeastern Syria, or Rojava, to participate in the historic Kurdish National Unity Conference, scheduled to take place in Kamishlo on the 26th of April. This marks a significant moment in the evolving cooperation between Kurdish political forces across borders. The DEM party announced its participation in the conference on its official X account, underlining its commitment to advancing Kurdish political cooperation. The delegation arrived through the Samalka border gate from the Kurdistan region of Iraq, demonstrating the transnational nature of Kurdish political engagement. The conference aims to bring together Kurdish political factions to discuss a unified stance on the future of Syria. Over 300 political figures from across the Kurdish spectrum are expected to attend, with the aim of presenting a common vision for the rights of the Kurdish people and the future structure of Syria. Relations between the Kurdistan region of Iraq and the Autonomous Administration of North and East Syria, or AANES, have grown stronger. Nechivan Barzani, president of the Kurdistan region, met with Mazloum Abdi, commander-in-chief of the Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF, to discuss the future of Syria. They focused on Kurdish unity and the ongoing challenges Kurds face in both regions. The leaders agreed that Kurdish participation in Syria's political process is crucial for achieving a stable and inclusive future for the region. They also discussed the continued threat of ISIS, particularly in areas with a large Kurdish presence. Additionally, the economic challenges facing both regions were addressed, with a focus on improving cooperation to ensure better support for Kurdish communities. Both Barzani and Abdi emphasized the importance of a Kurdish National Congress. This move aims to unite Kurdish political factions and strengthen cooperation. Their meeting marks an important step towards greater political cohesion. On the 110th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, commemorations were held in both northeastern Syria, or Rojava, and Turkey on Thursday, underlining the continuing impact of the atrocities and the ongoing struggle for recognition and justice. In Al-Hasaka, the Armenian Community Assembly organized a solemn ceremony at Serdam Hall, attended by officials from the armed forces, members of the Autonomous Administration, and dozens of Armenian citizens. Migrdich Katanyan, representative of the Armenian Community Assembly, emphasized the community's commitment to preventing future genocides through resistance and struggle. In Turkey, the Human Rights Association, or EHD, held a press conference in Istanbul to mark the anniversary. IHD reiterated its long-standing position that the denial of genocide is a continuing crime that allows similar atrocities to persist. They called for official recognition and accountability to prevent further human rights violations. The IHD stressed an unpunished crime continues to be committed. Denial perpetuates genocide. In addition, the IHD recalled the tragic death of Sevag Shahin Balakçı, an Armenian citizen who was killed during his compulsory military service in Batman in 2011. IHD reaffirmed its commitment to keeping his memory alive. Swedish journalist Joakim Medin faces up to 12 years in prison in Turkey for allegedly insulting President Erdogan and being linked to the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK Medin, who works for the Swedish newspaper Dagens ETC, was arrested in March after arriving in Istanbul to cover protests sparked by the arrest of opposition leader Ekrem İmamoğlu. The protests against the Erdoğan government were a focus of Medin's reporting. The charges against Medin relate to his coverage of the protests. The Turkish authorities accuse him of insulting the president and suspect him of links to the PKK, although no concrete evidence has been presented. In response to the arrest, the Swedish government has raised concerns with the Turkish authorities and requested consular access to Medin. The case is seen as part of a wider repression of journalists in Turkey. Medin's trial is scheduled for the 30th of April, and supporters are calling for his release, arguing that his imprisonment is a violation of press freedom.